Welcome learners to this session of BA Honours English Part 2 Paper 3. Today's topic is Macbeth, Act 4, Scene 3. In England, near the palace of King Edward, Macbeth urges Malcolm to raise the army against Macbeth. But Malcolm says Macbeth may actually be working for Macbeth, a suspicion heightened by the fact that Macbeth left his family behind unprotected in Scotland. Remember the massacre of his wife and his child? Malcolm later adds that he delays attacking Macbeth because he would be a worse ruler. Malcolm describes himself as a lustful, greedy, and vicious that makes Macbeth a king kinder. Macduff cries out in horror and says he will leave Scotland since there is no man fit to rule it. Then reiterates that none of his self description was true. It was a trick to test Macduff's loyalty. Malcolm now believes that Macduff is loyal to Scotland and not Macbeth, and that he has an army of 10,000 men commanded by the English Lord Seward, ready to invade Scotland. By setting forth the dramatic contrast between virtue exemplified in Malcolm and overreaching pride in Macbeth, Shakespeare offers a coherent pattern, a pattern which could be understood, pattern of life, that is, society is more important than any individual. While Macbeth refuses to acknowledge any interdependency between the individual and his society, as if man were powerful enough to tear the universe apart and refashion it according to his will, Malcolm affirms his responsibilities to society. In his person, he has all the king becoming graces that is worthy of a king because he is virtuous. Unlike Macbeth, he does not believe that everything is possible for a king, and instead of glorifying personal power and privilege, he would give himself to all men. I quote, "What I am truly is thine, and my poor country's to command." I unquote. He tells Macduff. In downgrading himself, Malcolm spoke of what he was in order to be emphatic, but in describing his true qualities, he speaks of what he is not, as modesty demands. Just then, an English doctor enters. Malcolm speaks with the doctor, then tells Macduff that King Edward of England is so saintly that he can cure diseases. Now, there was this practice of getting sick patients touched by the sovereign in the hope that they would be cured dates back in England to the reign of Edward the Confessor. He first started it, and the healing benediction being considered hereditary in sovereigns, the practice was kept up till the days of Queen Anne, who touched Dr. Johnson in 1712. James I was at first reluctant to continue the practice as his Scottish advisers considered it superstitious. But later on, he agreed to do so as a concession to the English sentiment, but only by way of prayer. And this adds a pungency to this compliment paid to him on the English stage. Dramatically, this episode gives Malcolm sufficient time to make up his mind as to what he should do. Now, this act ends with a note of optimism. The night that now covers Scotland will soon be over, and the day of peace and freedom will break and usher in a new era of hope. So, in the next session, we shall be doing the fifth act and the final act. Thank you.